Welcome to Coruzant Technologies, home of the Digital Executive Podcast.
Welcome to the Digital Executive. Today's guest is Matthew Miller. Matthew Miller is a technology leader with expertise in bringing products, processes, and technology to life. An expert at aligning technology solutions with customer needs, he has successfully led teams to build products that have led to significant commercial growth and increased business productivity. He is passionate about developing talent and transforming cultures to build a team focused on the right outcomes and, above all, service to the customer. He currently leads the commercial and technical efforts to bring to market Helios, an Industrial Internet of Things, or IIoT, SaaS offering that provides remote monitoring and predictive maintenance through machine learning for manufacturers in the corrugated industry. Prior to his work in the corrugated industry, Miller spent nearly 2 decades at General Electric in various technical positions, including leading software development projects and programs, including Brilliant Factory and Predix, GE's IIoT development platform. Well, good afternoon, Matthew. Welcome to the show.
Well, thanks for having me.
You bet. This is awesome. I appreciate you jumping on, and we're going to get through some questions about you and your company and how you and the solutions that you provide are making a difference in the community. So, Matthew, jumping into your career a little bit, right? You've got a background in technology as a developer, program manager, and now you're the director of technology at Sun Automation Group. Could you share with our audience the secret to your career growth and what inspires you?
I chalk a lot of it up to luck or good fortune, but there are some things you can do to put yourself in the right place. The first is I've always latched on to leaders that align with my beliefs, my belief set, if you will, and are getting the job done. If possible, make a mentorship with them, or if not, simply emulate what they do. They're obviously getting the job done. They align with your core beliefs, and so they're a good model or example to follow. I've had several leaders throughout my career that have really taught me a lot, either through a mentorship or just watching them. So that's really the first. That's really the main key to my career growth.
Great. I appreciate the share on that. And you're so right. Mentorship is so important. And, early on in our career, if that's one of the things we would have learned in school, it would have been nice to know to go out and seek a mentor, but you kind of stumble and fall until you find one. But no, either finding one or emulating one is you're absolutely right. So I appreciate the share.
Yeah. And actually, if I could add to that,
Sure.
So another thing that, I've found that really helps me today is, when you're in the weeds at a lower level position, you're constantly in the technology. So what's there, you understand why or how things work, why they work the way that they work. But as you move or progress through your career, you also find that you're not always close to the technology. You're dealing with a lot more softer things, strategic things like that. And I typically try to keep abreast of, what's going on. It gives me relevance with our engineers. And, it also helps me to make the right decisions with the technology, understanding what's there. We can, make a decision from a more strategic level that maybe our engineering team can't quite see.
Great. Thank you for sharing that. So, Matthew, let's talk about this pandemic, right? Mm-hmm. There's just been a major transition or shift because of it. And now that the pandemic is lifting and hopefully we'll go back to normalcy, but what's your plans for business growth going forward? And will it be any different than the last 15 months?
Sure. It will be different. I can say that. I guess what's fortunate for us or unfortunate, it's kind of hard to put, a good light on the pandemic, but the problem we're trying to solve is a pre-pandemic problem. In our industry, our customers are experiencing what we call a brain drain or a loss of tribal knowledge as, experienced workers age out, and all that knowledge goes out the door. And our customers prior to the pandemic were expressing the challenge of getting qualified individuals into the company. Those engineers that can look at a machine or listen to a machine or feel the vibration in a machine and say, yeah, something's going to break here in the near future. So during the pandemic, that became even worse. I mean, speaking from our experience, we have a number of highly skilled jobs that have been open for weeks, if not months, and our customers are feeling that as well. So, our plan for growth, first of all, we're a new product. We only started offering this in the market in March, but we're going to continue doing what we're doing. First off, we're going to provide a solution that helps embed that knowledge that's going out the door into the system so that it can begin to make those predictions. It can point to, hey, this component's going to fail because we're seeing these things in the data set. But the other thing that we're focusing on is we want to expand into other beachheads. There's ancillary equipment up and down the production line, and there are even equipment that's outside of the corrugated industry that we can apply this product to. And so to do that, we can only go so far on our own capital investment. So we're actually actively seeking partners that will work with us to expand this out to these additional beachheads so we can push this product out further.
Great. Thank you for sharing. So Matthew, this is a technology publication and platform, and so we want to jump into a little bit of that. You're obviously leveraging some new or emerging technologies within your tech stack. Is there anything you might be able to share with us today?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the application is your common fare. I mean, it's, we build it on open source, but where we're really on the cutting edge, particularly in this industry, is leveraging machine learning. There are a lot of companies out there that are good at collecting data, that are good at, predicting some maintenance intervals, but ultimately that's as far as they've gotten. And so we're finding that in this industry, we're the first to really leverage machine learning. And, machine learning is a ubiquitous term. It means a lot of things to a lot of people, but our approach is unique as far as I understand. So we're using two types of machine learning. One is unsupervised learning. The other is supervised learning. And unsupervised learning is really concerned with anomalies. What's abnormal in the data set? So we're pulling data points, 2,000 to 5,000 data points once per second. And we're looking at each one to try to understand what's normal and what's abnormal. And when we see something that's abnormal, something that doesn't look quite the norm compared to how the machine operates, we raise a hand and say, hey, this is anomalous. This is weird. It could be they're just using the machine in a different way, or it could be a precursor to a problem. When a failure does occur on the machine, we typically will marry those anomalies that occurred at the time of that event. And now you have what you call training data. It's data that can feed a supervised learning model. And the supervised learning model will watch those anomaly patterns. And when it sees those same anomalies occur, it's going to raise a hand and say, hey, when we saw these anomalies the last time, this bearing failed or what have you. And we believe that that's going to happen again. So, it's kind of a unique approach. I don't think it's the first in the machine learning space, but, it's something that we're finding a lot of success in. We're on the cusp of, predicting downtime on a machine. We're seeing some very good results in our research.
That's awesome. And you're absolutely right on the machine learning. I talked to, seems like a guest today that has really started to leverage the technology to really help glean, again, those anomalies or things that are out of bounds using the machine, because there's just such a ton amount of data to go through, and humans can't sift through that anymore, obviously. So I appreciate you sharing that. Mm-hmm. So Matthew, last question here. Can you share something from your career experience that would be helpful for those looking to grow their career in tech or leadership?
Yeah. So, there are two, as far as I've seen, there are two kinds of people within technology. When you're starting in, from the ground up, there are those who just want to become experts in their field. They don't want to move ahead, and not ahead. That sounds negative, but they're comfortable not moving into a leadership position. But then there are others who, truly have that desire. They want to see how far they can go. And what I've found, there are a lot of reasons that play into that, why this doesn't happen. But, I've considered it a couple times because I've watched, me move or progress in a way that my peers haven't. And I've tried to, put my finger on, well, why is that? Why aren't they progressing? And one of the things I keep coming back to is there's a lack of not understanding, but a lack of, I guess a lack of understanding is probably the right way. A lack of understanding to look at what is the overall objective of the organization and how does what I do tie into that? Typically you'll hear complaints from them saying, I don't understand why we have to do it this way. Well, if you're paying attention to what the wildly important goal of the company is, that goal that's going to win the war, that'll inform your decisions of why you need to do something the way that you need to do it. And so I find when folks don't pay attention to that, they typically, are not clear on why they're doing things the way that they're doing. And, that doesn't get you the visibility with leadership. It doesn't help you to do your job more effectively, to, move the needle for the organization. And ultimately they stay where they are.
Sure. I appreciate the share on that. And I know that everybody's got their own, inspiration, motivation, or reasons why they want to move the ball forward as far as their career. So again, most appreciated. And Matthew, it was a pleasure having you on today. And I look forward to speaking with you real soon.
All right. Thank you very much.
Bye for now.